Hello and welcome back to our podcast. We took a small holiday, but now that Derry is back in lockdown, but not fully, we are back with our voicing of our concern. This is Kieran Townley, and today I will talk about Halloween.
I'm Milo, and I wonder how the cancellation of Halloween is actually going to affect the city, and how it's going to impact it.
Yes, due to the fact with the whole COVID-19 is still going on with this whole nightmare of 2020, and it is a hugely impact on our economy and our city and whatsoever.
But I think specifically with how Derry kind of almost relies on Halloween, because like Derry is legitimately, like I was in New York, and I seen places advertising Halloween in Derry, which blew my mind, because I was like, people like Derry this much, and the broadcasting it in other countries for Halloween.
Yeah, I mean, it is like the most stressful year, and even of course, since Halloween is kind of like the biggest event in Derry history, which is always happened every year, and yet we're always identified as the capital, the world capital of Halloween all the time, and it's always great in our economy.
Oh yeah, like I every year, like I'll be walking through the town usually on Halloween, like going out with my mates having a few drinks, and I see all the tourists, and the buzz in the town is just amazing. Seeing all the kids dressed up, and seeing all the adults, the Americans, be like, oh my god, we finally came to Derry for Halloween. It's been advertised for years, and we finally did it. Seeing people at this amount in the town is very much a very rewarding, it's a happy time.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember the great time of Halloween, but now with 2020 and the economy of our town right now, well, our city, sorry, the way we are kind of like some of the small stores are like losing, and even how badly affect because Halloween every year always give them a big boost, but now this year it's basically a death sentence for all of them.
Oh yeah, 'cause every small business that's like that might specialize in like Halloween geek stuff is essentially going to go out of business, because there's there's going to be like events, like it'll be online events. It's not going to be the same.
Yeah, I mean, I always just like get my custom sorted, help my parents get with the sweets, baking, but now Halloween is no more this year. But even though we will be back next year once this whole crisis of the pandemic is over. But of
Yeah,
course, but yet it's going to be a slow recovery due to it.
yeah, but now also speaking specifically about Derry in itself, it doesn't have the nicest past, like specifically Derry, because for ages our cultural identity kind of relayed around violence, and because of the history of Derry. So seeing it going from maybe at a violent place to like, oh, go there for Halloween, it's just a nice change.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, during the, of course, every Halloween, we always recover from our past by just having fun and get along together. And even now, the cancellation of Halloween is definitely affect us all.
Oh, 100%. I know for a fact that there's gonna be just. I think the image of Derry will be impacted by the cancellation, because there'll be a real lack of tourism, obviously, because of the pandemic. But although I don't mind. This is going to sound kind of bad, but like, I don't mind tourists not being here the rest of the year. But I realised how much Derry is going to be affected at Halloween,
Yeah.
because Derry is so well known. People are gonna be like, oh, we'll find somewhere else to go for Halloween, because obviously we can't go there. So like what's gonna happen next year? Are the same people gonna be like, oh, we had more fun in this place, so we'll stay here? So it's like Derry's image is probably going to be affected.
Yeah, I mean, I do recall that the council is trying to find alternative way to celebrate Halloween, but only their best way of celebrating Halloween this year is stay at home and dress up. That's it. Let's have a house party and Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, even though, of course, my parents, of course, sadly spent a bit too much on sweets, which, of course, trying to tell her don't buy too much sweets because no one's going to be at our door because everyone is afraid of COVID-19. You never know in case someone might have COVID-19 as they just give it to a Wayne without realizing it. Or even, of course, each child might have COVID-19 without realizing it because you never know. Because sometimes, of course, people always say sometimes children can be the ones are the most dirty ones without realizing not washing their hands. And something the parents or adults who give them the sweets probably do not realize too, but probably more aware.
But no, also there's also that kind of the mental health aspect of it, because Halloween for a lot of people is kind of like the one day of the year they can maybe like kind of chill out. They can put on like a costume, and like a lot of my friends are into cosplay, so they put a lot of emphasis and a lot of what's the word, a lot of effort effort into their costumes, and no one's gonna see it, and they are my friends personally are devastated because like they're so like last year my friend made a weirdly functional Iron Man suit.
Well, probably their best bet is now rather just use Instagram or Facebook, like probably like put it live forever if they want to and share it about. But yet again, it's always kind of cool to see it in their actual eyes itself. But it's kind of like a sacrifice we have to take. And even, of course, we're all trying to figure out what's going to be the best costume of the year, what's going to be the most trends. But apparently, I assuming a lot of people probably want to dress up as doctors for awareness. I assuming.
But not, apparently also there's people here dressing up as COVID. That's a bit extreme. But not also like there's just this really kind of like people like this time of the year for some people is like their favorite time of the year. But Halloween is a real part of that, and so Halloween being cancelled for these people is so just like it's another like, kind of bad part year, an already fairly bad year.
Yeah. I mean, even of course, due to the, of course, while we're getting shorter days and weather changes a lot, it is definitely stress out a lot of people and make them worried about like COVID-19, and even the thought of it is kind of ripping their minds just like really mentally of worrying about it. But yet again, of course, a lot of people just want to have good fun Chinese find something like put their mind off about the whole cancellation culture, which we having a lot this year. Like we have Sir Patrick's Day got cancelled.
Right.
Was Valentines got cancelled, wasn't it?
Valentine's Day, like there was no. I think it was a lot of it was like Pride and St. Patrick's Day. Now Halloween. Everything seems anything that revolves around a parade has been just thrown away.
Well, it's not just Halloween also getting those cancelled and art at Derry, but there's other fans for other people from different cultures as well. Of course, the Japanese in Derry want to celebrate Oban Festival, but due to COVID, cancelled. And what else? There was there was like a food festival, so food festival was cancelled.
Yeah, I love that festival every year.
Me too, and even the Clifford Festival has also got cancelled, and it could be a great year or two because due to the fact that it got mentioned in a movie. But now with the Christmas is coming up, even though we're still talking about Halloween, but all the big stuff for like those Christmas festivals, like buying all the goods and presents and all that.
Yeah,
It's going to be cancelled as well, apart from buying presents. But
yeah. I think Christmas this year is going to be very kind of odd because like it's like obviously Halloween is big, but Christmas is massive. So obviously people are going to obviously have to like make sacrifices for Christmas, and like I probably won't be able to see my family, and there's some of them I only get to see at Christmas, so that sucks.
yeah, I mean, even though, of course, luckily this year on Christmas, we can take our, can make a house home just one day, apparently I heard, which of course will be good for my grandmother who is recently widowed, which of course help her put her mind off it. But still, it is kind of still fall like it's not going to be much festival this year with
Yeah,
all that happen. So it's more or less saying cancel culture is a big, big issue of this year.
yeah,
Right. Well, since we discussed all that, we discussed about the economy, uh, the of course the city culture identity of Halloween, and even of course mental health that's affect us with the whole canceling of all cultures as well. So even of course this is also a good question for you, Milo, and even everyone who is listening. If you also want to drop a comment, how would you celebrate Halloween this year?
if I celebrate, I'll probably just dress, yeah, a simple costume and watch horror films. That's my Halloween every year.
Well, for me, what I am kind of start doing on my Twitch channel, of course, I am busy playing horror games. But of course, I probably currently playing those Resident Evil games, and I am literally horrified of 7, which is like the scares of them all, and maybe probably what's something horror as well. So I will say this: thank you for guys for listening to this podcast, and remember tune in next time while we're back for more.